Can you hear it? That sound in the dead of night, when everyone else is sleeping, when the world goes quiet, and you're left alone with a truth you can't explain to anyone? Do you feel it, the weight pressing down on your chest? The knowing that you were meant for something more, but the door keeps slamming shut every time you reach for it? You've carried this burden for so long. This secret ache, this quiet desperation that no one sees. They look at you and think they know your story, but they don't know about the nights you've cried out to God, begging Him to show you why. Why the betrayal? Why the loss? Why you've had to walk through fire while others seem to glide through life untouched. But let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. God has been preparing you for the rule of the jungle. Not the world's jungle, no. This is something far greater. This is the spiritual wilderness where only the chosen survive, where the weak fall away and the anointed rise with power that cannot be explained by human logic. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not a mistake. Chosen one. Do you feel it? A calling so deep, so undeniable, that even now, in the silence, you hear it echoing through your spirit. It's time to step into the rule of the jungle, and God has prepared you for this exact moment. The chaos you see unfolding around you, it's not random. The isolation you've felt, it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The pain you've endured, it was the crucible that forged you into a weapon of divine purpose. Before we go any further, I need you to do something. I need you to commit. Hit that like button, not for me, but as a declaration to heaven that you are ready. Subscribe to this channel, because this message is going to reach 100,000 souls who need to hear it. And drop the number 99 inches, the comments. This is your divine alignment signal. This is how you tell the universe, I am here, I am awake, I am ready. And I want to say thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead. Now, let's step into what God is revealing. Establishing the spiritual challenge, 237. The call to prepare. Do you know what it feels like to be standing in the middle of a storm while everyone around you pretends the sky is clear? Do you see what's happening, the unraveling, the chaos, the madness, and wonder why no one else seems to notice? Have you ever asked yourself, am I the only one who can feel the ground shaking beneath my feet? You're not losing your mind. You're waking up. The world is spinning out of control. It's a jungle out there, and the noise is deafening. People are scrambling for survival, clawing, grasping, fighting over scraps. They're building towers of sand, calling it security. They're chasing shadows, calling it success. They're numbing the pain, calling it peace. But you can't unsee it. You can't unhear it. You can't pretend anymore. Because God has set His plan in motion, and you, chosen one, are not called to survive. You are called to rule. Let that sink in for a moment. Not to endure, not to merely get through, but to rule with divine authority, with spiritual power, with the kind of clarity that comes only from heaven itself. Do you know why you're here today? It's not coincidence. It's not luck. It's not the algorithm. God, in His divine wisdom, has chosen you, not for ease, but for battle. Not for comfort, but for transformation. You are standing at the threshold of something monumental, something that will split history into before and after. And I need you to understand something critical. This moment right now is not preparation for later. This is the beginning. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6:12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." Do you hear that? The battle is not physical, it's spiritual. And most people don't even know they're in a war. But you do. You've felt it. You've sensed it. The enemy has been circling you for years, trying to wear you down, trying to convince you that you're weak, that you're broken, that you're disqualified. He's whispered lies in the silence. You're too old. You're too tired. You've made too many mistakes. God has moved on without you. But here's the truth that will shatter every lie. The enemy doesn't waste time on people who don't matter. He attacks those who carry destiny. He targets those who are about to step into power. And you, my friend, are about to step into something he fears. What's ahead will not be ordinary. You will be tested in ways that shake the foundations of everything you thought you knew about yourself and this world. Your faith will be challenged. Your patience will be stretched. Your resolve will be pushed to its breaking point. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Your victory has already been secured. Romans 8:37 says, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us." Not barely surviving, not scraping by, more than conquerors. That means you don't just win, you dominate. You don't just overcome, you rise with authority. The jungle you're about to enter is not governed by the rules of this world. It's governed by divine order. And God has already given you the blueprint. But let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. What is standing between you and your destiny right now? Is it fear? Fear that you're not strong enough, not smart enough, not spiritual enough? Is it the weight of past failures, those moments you replay in your mind at 3 a.m., wondering if God can still use someone like you? Is it the betrayal, the people who walked away when you needed them most? The ones who told you to get over it when your heart was shattered? Or is it simply exhaustion? The bone-deep weariness of fighting battles no one else can see, of carrying burdens no one else acknowledges. I see you. God sees you. And he's not asking you to pretend you're fine. He's asking you to be real. Because here's the mystery that will unlock everything. God doesn't need your strength. He needs your surrender. He doesn't need your perfection. He needs your willingness. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, God says, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." Do you understand what that means? Your weakness is not disqualification, it's the doorway. Your brokenness is not failure, it's the foundation. The jungle ahead requires warriors who know they can't do this alone. It requires leaders who have been humbled, refined, and rebuilt by the hand of God himself. It requires people who have walked through the fire and come out carrying the scent of heaven instead of the stench of smoke. And that's exactly who you are. The chaos around you is increasing. The darkness is thickening. Systems that once seemed solid are crumbling. People who once seemed strong are falling apart. And in the middle of it all, God is positioning his chosen ones, his remnant, to stand as beacons of light. But understand this, the enemy is relentless. He will attack your mind. He will assault your emotions. He will use the people closest to you to plant seeds of doubt. He will orchestrate circumstances designed to make you quit. And in those moments, those dark, lonely moments when you feel like you can't take one more step, you will have to make a choice. Will you trust what you see, or will you trust what God has spoken? Will you believe the circumstances, or will you believe the promises? Will you surrender to fear, or will you rise in faith? Take a moment right now. Speak to God in this moment. Tell him the truth. Tell him where you're struggling. Tell him where you're afraid. Tell him where you feel weak. Because he's not intimidated by your honesty. He's moved by it. And when you align yourself with his truth, when you stop trying to be strong enough and simply say, "Lord, I'm yours. Use me as I am," that's when the supernatural power flows. The rule of the jungle is not about being the loudest or the strongest. It's about being aligned. It's about being obedient. It's about being willing to walk through doors that terrify you because God is the one who opened them. So let me ask you one final question before we move forward. Are you ready to stop surviving and start ruling? Because what comes next will require everything you have and everything you don't. But God is about to show you that what you don't have, he will supply. What you can't do, he will accomplish through you. And where you are weak, he will be strong. The jungle is waiting, the battle is set, and God has already declared, You will not fall. Now, let me show you how to prepare for what's coming. The test and preparation. Spiritual incubation. Why does it feel like the ground beneath you has disappeared? Why has God gone silent at the very moment you need Him most? Why are you watching everyone else break through while you're stuck in a season that feels like death itself? Listen to me. What you're experiencing right now is not abandonment. It's not punishment. And it's certainly not the end of your story. This is the most sacred, most critical phase of your entire journey. You are being incubated. You are in the cocoon. And what God is doing in you right now, in the darkness, in the silence, in the isolation, it will determine whether you survive what's coming or whether you rise as the leader He's called you to be. You see, the enemy wants you to believe that stillness equals stagnation, that silence means God has forgotten you, that isolation is a sign you've been rejected. But that is a lie straight from the pit of hell. The Bible is filled with stories of divine incubation. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before God called him to deliver an entire nation. Joseph spent years in a prison cell, falsely accused, forgotten by those he helped, but God was preparing him to become second in command of Egypt. David was anointed king as a boy, but he spent years running for his life in caves before he ever wore the crown. Do you see the pattern? Every single person God chose for greatness went through a season of hiddenness, a season where nothing made sense, a season where the silence was so loud it felt like torture. But in that silence, God was doing surgery. He was removing the parts of them that wouldn't survive the weight of their destiny. He was fortifying their spirit. He was turning them from dreamers into warriors. And that's exactly what He's doing with you right now. You are not in a pause. You are in a sacred incubation. God has pulled you out of the noise, out of the chaos, out of the opinions and the distractions. Because what He's about to do in your life cannot happen in public. It cannot happen while you're chasing the approval of others. It cannot happen while you're still dependent on the systems of this world. He's got you in a cocoon, and I know how claustrophobic it feels. I know how desperately you want to break free, to move, to see progress. But hear me clearly. If you break out of that cocoon too early, you will not have wings. You will fall. The transformation isn't finished yet. The metamorphosis is still happening. Right now, in the quiet, God is rewiring your mind. He's healing wounds you didn't even know you had. He's breaking generational curses. He's severing soul ties. He's removing false identities. He's stripping away every crutch, every backup plan, every safety net, because where you're going, you won't be able to lean on anything or anyone but Him. This is the crucible. This is the furnace. And yes, it's painful. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it feels like everything is falling apart. But let me tell you what's really happening. You are being refined like gold. The fire isn't destroying you, it's purifying you. Every impurity, every compromise, every ounce of fear and people-pleasing and self-reliance, it's all burning away. And what's left? Pure faith, unshakable trust, divine authority. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still, and know that I am God." Not be busy, not be loud, not be seen. Be still. Because in the stillness, you learn who God really is. And more importantly, you learn who you really are. The world will not understand this season. They will look at you and wonder what happened. They'll pressure you to move, to hustle, to explain yourself. Friends will fall away. Family will question you. Even well-meaning voices will tell you that you're wasting time, that you're missing opportunities, that you need to get back out there. But you cannot listen to them. The noise is not your path. The world's timeline is not God's timeline. And the rule of the jungle that's coming, the chaos, the spiritual warfare, the global shaking it, will devour those who are not prepared. It will crush those who built their lives on sand. But you will stand, because you were hidden in the secret place. You were trained in the wilderness. You were shaped in the silence. This is not a season to fear. This is a season to surrender. God is asking you one question right now. Will you trust me even when you can't see me? Will you obey me even when it doesn't make sense? Will you stay in the cocoon even when every fiber of your being wants to break free? Because here's the truth that will either set you free or break your heart. Most people quit right before the transformation is complete. They get tired of waiting. They lose faith in the process. They break out of the cocoon too soon, and they never develop the wings they were meant to have. Don't be most people. You've already come too far. You've already endured too much. The sleepless nights, the unanswered prayers, the closed doors, the betrayals, the losses, it was all preparation. Every single thing that tried to destroy you was actually building the strength you'll need for what's next. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are right on time. And when this season of incubation is over, when God opens that cocoon and you step out into the light, you will not recognize yourself. You will move with authority. You will speak with power. You will lead with wisdom that didn't come from books or seminars. It came from the secret place. It came from the wilderness. It came from the God who never left your side, even when it felt like he did. The rule of the jungle is coming. The world is about to enter a season of chaos, confusion, and collapse. Systems will fail. Leaders will fall. The masses will panic. But the chosen ones, the ones who stayed in the cocoon, who trusted the process, who let God finish the work, they will rise. They will lead. They will carry the light into the darkness. And you are one of them. So right now, in this very moment, I want you to do something. Stop running from the silence. Stop resisting the stillness. Stop trying to force open a door that God has intentionally closed. Instead, lean into this season. Pray for clarity. Ask God to show you what he's removing and what he's building. Surrender to the process. Because when you emerge, and you will emerge, you won't just survive the jungle, you will rule it. Are you ready to trust God in the cocoon? Have you ever felt it, that invisible hand pressing down on your chest in the middle of the night, stealing your breath, whispering lies that you're not enough, that you'll never make it, that God has forgotten you? Do you know what it feels like when everyone around you seems blessed, while you're drowning in silence, wondering if the enemy has marked you for destruction? Can you recognize his voice, the one that sounds so reasonable, so logical, telling you to give up, to stop believing, to accept defeat as your destiny? Listen to me carefully. What you're experiencing is not random. It's not bad luck. It's not even about you being weak. You are in the crosshairs of a spiritual war, so ancient, so fierce, that most people don't even know they're fighting it. And the enemy? He doesn't play fair. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6:12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." This isn't poetry. This is warfare intelligence from the throne room of heaven. The enemy you're facing isn't your neighbor, your family member, or even that person who betrayed you. The real enemy operates in the shadows of your mind, in the whispers of your doubt, in the weight of your exhaustion. And here's what makes him so dangerous. He doesn't show up with horns and pitchforks. He comes dressed as logic, as reason, as that voice in your head saying, maybe you heard God wrong. Maybe you're not really chosen. Maybe it's time to quit. He'll use your weariness against you. After years of fighting, years of praying, years of standing when everyone else sat down, he knows exactly when to strike. When you're tired, when you're alone, when you've given everything and feel like you have nothing left, the enemy studies you. He knows your triggers. He knows the wounds that never fully healed. He knows which memory to replay at 3 a.m. to keep you from sleeping. He knows which fear to magnify until it becomes bigger than your faith. But here's what he doesn't want you to know. His attacks are proof of your calling. You don't get this level of warfare for nothing. Demons don't waste time on people who pose no threat to the kingdom of darkness. The intensity of your battle is directly proportional to the magnitude of your purpose. If the enemy is fighting you this hard, it's because he sees what God is about to release through you, and he's terrified. Think about it. When David was just a shepherd boy, nobody cared. But the moment Samuel anointed him king, Saul came after him with an army. When Moses was hidden in the palace, he was safe. But the moment God called him to deliver a nation, Pharaoh wanted him dead. When Jesus was born, Herod slaughtered innocent children, trying to kill the king before he could fulfill his destiny. The enemy doesn't attack potential. He attacks purpose about to manifest. Right now, you're in the rule of the jungle. This isn't the sanitized, comfortable Christianity you see on Sunday morning. This is the raw, brutal, beautiful battlefield where kingdoms collide, where your faith is forged in fire, where every step forward feels like walking through concrete, but you keep moving because something inside you refuses to die. And I need you to understand something that will change everything. You are entering the battlefield of your soul. The darkness will press in from every side. It will feel suffocating. It will feel endless. But know this: God is with you. His light is your weapon, and your faith will be the shield that protects you. The jungle is not a place of comfort. It's a place of transformation. While others are sitting in air-conditioned sanctuaries singing songs, you're out here in the wild, face to face with forces they can't even imagine. And yes, it's harder. Yes, it's lonelier. Yes, there are moments when you question if you can survive another day. But this is where champions are made. Jesus didn't defeat the enemy in the temple. He faced him in the wilderness. Moses didn't become the deliverer in Pharaoh's palace. He was forged in the desert, in isolation, tending sheep for 40 years before God said, "Now you're ready." Joseph didn't rise to power in his father's house. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and forgotten in prison, and every single one of those horrors was preparation for the throne. The jungle is your training ground, and while others succumb to the forces around them, you, chosen one, will stand firm. The storms will rise, but your foundation will not be shaken. You are being molded into a warrior for God's kingdom. But let's be brutally honest about what you're facing. The enemy will attack your mind first. He'll bombard you with thoughts that sound like your own voice. You're too old for this. You've wasted too much time. You've made too many mistakes. God can't use someone like you. And if you're not careful, you'll believe him. You'll start agreeing with the prosecutor of your soul. Then he'll come after your body. Unexplained exhaustion, mystery illnesses, pain that doctors can't diagnose, insomnia that steals your strength. He knows that if he can weaken your physical body, your spiritual resistance drops. And then, and this is his masterpiece, he'll isolate you. He'll make sure that right when you need community the most, everyone disappears. Friends stop calling. Family doesn't understand. Even the church feels cold. You'll find yourself completely alone, wondering if anyone would even notice if you vanished. This is spiritual warfare, and it's real. But here's the truth that breaks every chain. The jungle will test your faith, but it will also reveal your purpose. You will see beyond the veil of the world's chaos. Your vision will sharpen, and your courage will rise. In the darkness, you'll discover weapons you didn't know you had. You'll find strength you didn't know existed. You'll hear God's voice with a clarity that only comes in the wilderness. The noise of the world fades away, and suddenly, it's just you and him. And in that sacred, terrifying, beautiful space, you'll realize you were made for this. The enemy thought the isolation would break you, but it's making you dangerous. Right now, I need you to do something. Don't wait until you feel strong. Don't wait until you have all the answers. Right now, speak into the darkness. Open your mouth and declare, "I am ready for this battle. God has equipped me for victory, and no weapon formed against me will prosper." Say it out loud. Let the atmosphere hear you. Let the enemy know you're not backing down. Because here's what happens next, and you're not going to believe it. The divine plan and empowerment. 2027-0. The rise of the chosen one. Do you know what happens when God stops asking and starts commanding? Do you understand what it means when heaven itself stops waiting for your permission and begins moving on your behalf, whether you feel ready or not? Can you feel it right now? This shift in the atmosphere, this undeniable pull that tells you the waiting season is over and the warfare has begun. Listen to me carefully. What I'm about to tell you will either ignite your spirit or terrify your flesh. There is no middle ground anymore. The divine plan that has been unfolding since before you were born is now reaching its breaking point. And you, chosen one, you are standing at the edge of the greatest battle and the greatest victory of your entire life. You've been asking God why? Why the pain? Why the isolation? Why the years of preparation with no visible progress? You've wondered if maybe you misheard him. Maybe you weren't really chosen. Maybe this was all just wishful thinking, some fantasy you created to cope with disappointment. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Here's what hell itself has been trying to keep hidden from you. Every single moment of your suffering was strategic. Every betrayal was a setup for your promotion. Every closed door was God protecting you from a trap that would have destroyed your destiny. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared for the rule of the jungle. And now, the Lion of Judah is about to roar through you. The battle is not yours alone. God has already gone before you. This is His plan, and it will succeed. You were chosen for this. His hand is upon you, and His strength will be made perfect in your weakness. That weakness you've been ashamed of, that's exactly where His power is about to explode through you with such force that the principalities and powers will tremble. 2 Corinthians 12-9 says, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." Do you hear that? Perfect. Not adequate, not barely enough, perfect. When you are at your weakest, when you feel like you have nothing left, that is precisely when God's strength reaches its full manifestation in your life. The world has taught you that strength means never breaking, but God's kingdom operates on a different frequency. What I'm about to tell you will either ignite your spirit or terrify your flesh. There is no middle ground anymore. The divine plan that has been unfolding since before you were born is now reaching its breaking point. And you, chosen one, you are standing at the edge of the greatest battle and the greatest victory of your entire life. You've been asking God why? Why the pain? Why the isolation? Why the years of preparation with no visible progress? You've wondered if maybe you misheard Him. You were being prepared for the rule of the jungle. And now, the Lion of Judah is about to roar through you. The battle is not yours alone. God has already gone before you. This is His plan, and it will succeed. You were chosen for this. His hand is upon you, and His strength will be made perfect in your weakness. That weakness you've been ashamed of, that's exactly where His power is about to explode through you with such force that the principalities and powers will tremble. You will walk through seasons where it feels like God Himself has abandoned you, even though He's closer than your own breath. This is the rule of the jungle. Not a physical wilderness, but a spiritual battleground where the stakes are higher than you've ever imagined, where your faith will be tested not once, but repeatedly, where you will be required to stand when every logical reason tells you to run. In His economy, breaking is the gateway to break through. Your shattered pieces are not evidence of failure. They are the fragments He's about to forge into a weapon. Right now, as you're hearing these words, there is a spiritual transaction taking place. The veil between the natural and supernatural is thinning. You can feel it, that tingling in your spirit, that sudden awareness that something is different, something has shifted. The moment is now. The time to rule the jungle has arrived. But she also knew that silence would mean the annihilation of her entire people. So she said those words that still echo through eternity, "If I perish, I perish." And when she stepped forward in faith, the king extended his scepter. What should have killed her became her crowning moment. David stood in a valley facing a giant that had terrorized an entire army. Everyone else saw an unbeatable monster, but David saw an uncircumcised Philistine defying the armies of the living God. Moses stood at the edge of the Red Sea with an entire army behind him and an impossible ocean in front of him. No escape route, no backup plan, just God's voice saying, "Go forward." And when he lifted that staff, when he took that step of faith into what looked like certain death, the waters split, the impossible became a pathway, the dead end became deliverance. Esther stood at the palace gates, knowing that one uninvited step could mean execution. And with one stone, one moment of radical faith, he brought down what everyone else feared. Do you see the pattern? Do you understand what I'm telling you? Faith will be your weapon. Clarity will be your vision. And God's Spirit will be your guide. You will rise above the noise and confusion. You will walk through fire, but you will not be burned. You will face the storms, but you will not be shaken. It's about His glory manifested through your obedience. It's about a lost and dying world seeing that God still moves, still speaks, still transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. And when the world looks at you, they will see not just a survivor, but a leader who stands firm in their faith, a leader who is unshaken, a leader who walks with God. They will ask you how you made it through, how you kept going when everything fell apart, how you still have faith after everything you've been through, and your life, your testimony, your very existence will preach a sermon louder than any words could ever express. You are not here by accident. The fact that you're hearing this message right now, in this moment, is divine orchestration. God is activating something in you that has been dormant. He is awakening the warrior that's been sleeping. He is calling forth the leader that's been hiding. The jungle is not coming. You're already in it. The question is not whether you'll face the battle. The question is whether you'll fight with heaven's authority or earth's limitations. So I'm asking you right now, in this sacred moment, are you ready? Are you willing to let go of who you were, to become who He's calling you to be? Are you prepared to step into the rule of the jungle with nothing but His word and His Spirit as your weapons? Declare it now with boldness. I am ready for God's plan. I am ready to rule. I am His chosen one, because what's coming next will require everything you just declared. The empowerment is real, the calling is certain, and the victory is already written. But first, you must understand exactly what you're stepping into. Conclusion, a sacred promise. So let me leave you with this. You are not random, you are not forgotten, you are not too late, too broken, or too far gone. The rule of the jungle that God has prepared you for is not about destruction. It's about transformation. It's about rising when the world expects you to fall. It's about leading when others are paralyzed by fear. Remember this. The pain you've endured was not wasted. The tears you've cried were not ignored. The prayers you whispered in the dark were heard by the God who neither slumbers nor sleeps. Every single moment has been preparing you for what's coming next. You are not alone in this. God is still working in your life, even when you can't see it, even when you can't feel it. And there is a community here, right here, ready to stand with you, pray with you, and believe with you when your own faith feels weak. So I want to ask you something before we close. What if everything you've been through was not the end of your story, but the beginning of your greatest chapter? What if the rule of the jungle is not something to fear, but something to embrace, because it's where God does His most powerful work? Let me pray with you now. If you're able, place your hand over your heart. Receive this blessing. Father God, I come before you now on behalf of every person hearing these words. Lord, you know their pain, you know their struggles, you know the battles they've fought in silence and the burdens they've carried alone. I ask you right now, in the mighty name of Jesus, to pour out your strength upon them. Where they are weak, make them strong. Where they are broken, bring healing. Where they are confused, bring clarity. Lord, let them feel your hand upon their shoulder in this very moment. Remind them that they are chosen, called, and deeply loved. Open doors that no man can shut. It's about transformation. It's about rising when the world expects you to fall. It's about leading when others are paralyzed by fear. Remember this. The pain you've endured was not wasted. The tears you've cried were not ignored. The prayers you whispered in the dark were heard by the God who neither slumbers nor sleeps. Every single moment has been preparing you for what's coming next. You are not alone in this. God is still working in your life, even when you can't see it, even when you can't feel it. And there is a community here, right here, ready to stand with you, pray with you, and believe with you when your own faith feels weak. So I want to ask you something before we close. Join this family of believers who are rising together, fighting together, and winning together. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching until the very end. That tells me you're serious about your calling. You're ready. God bless you, chosen one. Your time has come.